We have a lot of things moving in the next 10 weeks. And the main thing that we have going on is 5 speeches. I know that sounds like a lot, but as we kind of preview them, you'll get the idea of how they all kind of flow together and how that will help you be successful in the end. Before anything else, preparation is the key to success. I truly want you to take a little time to prepare for these speeches. And I have set it up so that way, hopefully, it doesn't become overwhelming for you. And if you do find yourself being overwhelmed, contact me and let's work together so that way we can keep you on track. What I want to talk about is 10 weeks for 5 speeches. Storytelling will be our first speech that we do, followed by a networking, celebratory, informative, and persuasive. 10 weeks, 5 speeches. It will go fast. Yes, if you do math, you can tell that's about a speech every other week. So we need to make sure that we stay on track. And what we need to focus on is figure out the tech issues early, because this is an online class, which means there are going to be tech issues. You're going to be like, how do I upload it? How do I work this? And I am absolutely going to have leniency in those first couple weeks and those first several speeches to allow you to become comfortable with the technology. There will be some aspects, like right now I'm sitting down. That's not how I want your speeches. When I do my weekly updates, I'm going to be standing up, I'm going to be outside, I'm going to be in how I want you to present a speech, which is ability to show motion, okay? Because if you can't gesture, if you're in a chair, if you're rocking back and forth, if you're doing all these things, that's a distraction, and that's not how you're going to present most speeches. Maybe once or twice on Zoom, but when you get out there and you're back in the community, you're back in the classroom, it's going to be standing up. So I actually want you to stand for your speeches. I want you to find out what the pattern is. There is a pattern to giving speeches, to writing a speech, to preparing for the speech, and in giving the speech. So we're going to take our time to make sure you follow that pattern and get used to it. So that way you don't have to think, well, what comes next? You know you start off with that attention getter. You're going to do a preview all encapsulated into the introduction. Then you're going to transition to the body of the speech. We're going to give the big details of your speech. Then you're going to transition out of that into the conclusion. And you're going to review. You're going to tell the people what you told them. And then once you do that, you're going to give that mic drop, that last thought that you really want your audience to hang on to. After we manage to come through there, we're going to look at the fact that each speech builds on the previous one. We don't start off doing a persuasive speech because there's all the other elements are in there. The storytelling element, the networking element, the celebratory element, and the informative element all roll into that persuasive speech. So think of it as we're kind of going up a hill. We're going to start out here and work our way up to that big persuasive speech at the end. The first speech we're going to do is the storytelling or introduction. What I want you to do in this speech, tell me a story from your life or something that's been impactful for you, something that you would use in another situation. Every job interview you sit down in, they say, tell me about yourself. Well, it's good to have a story, isn't it? Or if you want to connect with an audience in an informative speech, you give them an example that is a story. A story is very important for your audience because it takes them from their mind and allows them to share with your mind, your perspective. So storytelling enhances everything. Some things you need to know about storytelling in this situation is that I do want you to have a written outline, okay? Write down your speech. Get used to writing the story. This way you can see if you're skipping something, if you're missing something. I'm not going to grade hard on the outline for this speech. Why? Because we haven't gotten into organization of speeches. We haven't gotten into many of the other aspects. Those come later in the semester. I just wanted to get you in the water so that way you're able to learn to swim. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to have you practice getting in the formula of, oh, first thing I have to do is I have to rough out my speech. Then I can present my speech. So that way you get kind of used to that. The networking speech, I like this one because it's fast, but it's not centered on the elevator pitch, and it's not centered on what you see in Shark Tank or one of these where you're out there and you're just pitching a thing to someone. No, because what that ends up with is you have a yes or no answer, period. That's all you end up with. That is not really beneficial to you. What is truly beneficial is to learn how to network, how to do 60 seconds to 2 minutes where you kind of introduce yourself at the same time as you begin to develop a relationship with a job, perhaps with a school or with another situation where you would want to network. So this is going to be another one. You just have to rough out your outline, okay? I want something in writing so you're not just winging it. I want you to actually prepare, but it's not going to be like I'm going to take a magnifying glass and sort it all through. No, I just want you to take the time to write it and then practice it and present it. That's really what we're looking for on these first 3 speeches, actually. The celebratory speech is a celebration, of course. And this one we frequently find in our personal lives, everything from a birthday to a wedding. And it's usually lighthearted. This one probably about 3 minutes long. The rubric will have the exact time for you. Again, now you're going to be getting more elements in building up to this, because now we're suddenly talking about we're 5 weeks in, and so you have an idea of how to write an outline. So it'll be a little harder on the outline, but I do want an outline there, and I want you to follow the same format. So that way you can start building these together. This is where I want you to have those strong elements. I want you to have research in there. I want you to have a strong outline. I want you to be presenting using note cards. Cell phones will work because if you're good with technology, that's fine. But I don't want a full sentence outline. I will want a keyword or a speaking outline. We will get to those. But for now, just know this is going to be going up. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit longer, 4 to 5 minutes. And it's going to be to teach someone. And we'll definitely be talking more about this when we reach there. And then the top of the mountain is the persuasive speech. We use this sales, civic engagements, trying to persuade someone we're going to have dinner, for instance. Those are all instances where you might end up using elements of persuasion. But for this speech, I want to make sure you have everything that flows. We'll be talking about Monroe's motivated sequence. We'll absolutely be going more in depth. But as you can see, we're doing a climb. We're going to start out here and build to here. And when you reach here, I really want you to have the format down and understand how you craft a speech. Because when you're out of this class, that's where the real grades will be, is when you have to do a networking event and you want to promote your new business, or you want to get a new job and so you're going to go network with people, or perhaps you're going to go speak at your best friend's wedding, or you might end up in a job where you have to give informative speeches. You're an HR representative. So I want you to be successful in those situations. So this class, my goal is to build you up to be successful in those. So what we talked about is 10 weeks, 5 speeches, storytelling. Stories work everywhere. Stories are a key element in any presentation. Networking speech, celebratory speeches, informative speeches, and persuasive speeches. When you reach that finish line, I want you to have the tools to be successful in public speaking. Excellence is not a skill, it is an attitude. So have the attitude that you can do this, because you can. And if you struggle along the way, please let me know, because I am willing to work with you to get you to the top of the mountain.